Hello everyone, I'm tribalkai and welcome to the EDH channel. Today's video dedication is brought to you with thanks from Dan Kirch. If you'd like to support the channel as well, then you can visit Patreon and donate with the link in the description below. Failing that, a like, comment and subscribe is always appreciated. Now, let's have a look at everyone's opening hands. Turn 1 play from Go-Go in the Manifold key. And then, the decent low curve draws continue. Enlightened Shooter for us. I wonder if we could maybe see about getting fast mana with that, and then we can start ramping with Sword of the Animist. For now, we'll get the tap land into play and pass. And I think it's clear that Scotty has drawn into land tax this game. Up against 3 patrons of the channel, by the way: Scotty, Go-Go, Batman, and Billy Kills. Thought Vessel for Go-Go on turn 2. And for Billy Kills, it is Demonic Tutor. So not going to go for the fast mana with Enlightened Shooter just yet. And there is a Mutavault, which will obviously count as an angel. That's a man land. We'll just get down the Daxos this turn. And then if we want to next turn, we can go Enlightened Shooter for... it will have to be... oh, we could go Soul Ring. Play a land, Soul Ring. And then we'll have 4 mana for Sword of the Animist, hopefully be able to swing in with Daxos. And then we'll have a considerable amount more mana for the Well of Lost Dreams. Mace of the Valiant for the Naya player. And Go-Go playing out a few cards here. Warm Power Stone. And then that is 50 Feet of Rope. A new one from the D&D set. Target wall can't block this turn. Target creature doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. And venture into the dungeon, but only as a sorcery. Oh, and wow, that's lucky. I completely forgot, because I was thinking of the reason I built this new Angel Tribal list, finally. I've been meaning to do it for ages, but it's because of the new D&D card, the mythic one that I'll put up on screen now. It's actually just been banned in Standard, I think. And I was thinking about what I wanted to say to all of you and completely forgot to use Enlightened Tutor. Got into the Mana Vault anyway, which is really lucky. So I'll concentrate on getting planes out for the Emiria, the Sky Ruin, play out the Sword of the Animist, and equip that as well. There's now an Urborg in play over here, so all of our lands tap for black. And then we can still hold up Enlightened Shooter if we decide that we want to go for that, but I'm not entirely sure what we want to go for at the moment. So we'll swing in towards Scotty on the left. We will search for a basic planes and get that into play. Sometimes you want to get the man lands in as soon as you can, so you knock Summoning Sickness away from that. But we've got Emiria in play, so we want to get up to our 7 planes as soon as we can. And Sword of the Animist is really going to help us with that. And that means, thanks to us, that the land tax will trigger over here, so the Naya player can fill up on 3 basics. Don't think he went for it though, there's no lands revealed there, so just staying at 5 cards in hand after playing the Chromatic Lantern. And the first dungeon being ventured into for Go-Go. And that is Dungeon of the Mad Mage. Then casting a Read the Bones. Just wondering if it would be worth going for Court of Grace with Enlightened Shooter or not. We'll need more creatures in play to defend the monarchy. I think I'll rely on Well of Lost Dreams for card draw at the moment. We do need to be getting into creatures to trigger our Daxos though. Anyhow, a Cultivate from Billy Kills. That does create a pest token. And Sedgemoor Witch continuing to hold back. So yeah, once again we'll hold off on Enlightened Shooter because I'm not entirely sure what I want to go for with it. And there is a Shadow Spear, so that will trigger Well of Lost Dreams quite nicely. Throw down a Plains. We'll get the Well of Lost Dreams into play. And then, unfortunately, we're a mana shy. I'm going to have to play and equip the Shadow Spear onto Daxos. And then hope that Well of Lost Dreams lasts a turn cycle. We're against all the colours that can get rid of artefacts. But we can always go for Mind's Eye with this. So let's go in for an attack on Billy Kills. He could double block here, but we get rid of both of his creatures, and I think that's okay. Especially now that we've got life gain from the Shadow Spear. Get another land into play. And we are only 2 away from triggering the Emeria. So we might get Daxos back even if we lose it here. Would be able to draw 4 cards there if we had the mana, but unable to, unfortunately. Land tax triggering again for Scotty. And he did decide to go for the lands this time. I think, yeah, that's the plains that he went for. We'll try and keep track of the basics that he goes for, because it'll give us an idea of what he's got in hand. Thought Vessel now in play. I think he's just played that. And there we have ourselves a Smothering Tithe, which comes just in the nick of time because we're hopefully about to draw a bunch of cards. Rings of Brighthearth. And then Worn Power Stone is being untapped by the Manifold Key. That effect was copied by the Rings of Brighthearth, so it is untapped twice. And tapped down for mana in between, of course, so generating a decent chunk of mana. And then venturing into a dungeon again. And that is with the 50 feet of rope, of course. And again, copying that with the Rings of Brighthearth. So scrying this time. Going into the same dungeon. And then its target creature can't attack until your next turn. That's unfortunate, so we're not going to get life gain triggers from that. Maybe we just cast our Lyra, or whatever creature we hopefully draw into then. And we'll gain a life from Daxos and pay it into the Well of Lost Dreams. This is where it becomes relevant that we can't attack with the Mutavault. We could have put lifelink on that. Ooh, Culling Ritual. Yeah, that destroys a bunch of our stuff. We've still got a decent chunk of mana thanks to the Sword of the Animist though, but yeah, that takes all our life gain stuff away. Triggers the Pests, of course, so they gain a couple of life in that as well. And he gets 14 mana from that with 6 cards in hand. So out comes Beledros Witherbloom. Would really love a Soul Sister right now. Speaking of which, an Essence Warden. And a Dina Soul Steeper. Goes very nicely with the Essence Warden, of course. And Kodama's Reach will trigger the Sedgemoor Witch, putting a Pest into play, which triggers the Essence Warden, which triggers the Dina. So basically our opponent gains a life on its entry, we all lose a life. And the 3-2 Sedgemoor Witch coming in towards us, we are at 42 life. So I think we have to go for the Mind's Eye at this point. We need to be drawing cards and we've just lost all our means of gaining life, so I think that is what we have to do. We'll only be able to put 1 mana into it, unfortunately, so we have been slowed down a bit. An austere command or a means of blowing up all the artifacts like a Vandal Blast will really pretty much take us out of this game. So Beledros again puts a Pest into play and triggers all this stuff. Draw into the Mind's Eye, of course, and we will not pay for the Smothering Tithe. We're just getting the Mind's Eye into play, as well as the Mutavault. Finally get the Summoning Sickness away from that. If we turn this into a creature here, obviously it entered this turn, so we won't be able to attack with it. So when Scotty draws his card here, during the draw step, we can pay 1 into that and draw. Alright, and get into our first angel of the game, believe it or not. It's a really good one as well, Righteous Valkyrie. Give our opponent a treasure token as well. And then we see the second commander of the game, Hazezon Tamar. And this will trigger the Essence Warden and Dina a bunch of times. That triggered the Mace of the Valiant as well. Whenever a creature enters under your control, put a charge counter on it. +1/+1 to the equipped creature per charge counter. Go-Go just passing through his entire turn. He's had his old dungeon thing switched off, unfortunately, so straight over to Billy Kills. Kills going straight in for an attack. That is Essence Warden and Dina in at us. The Pests go into the left, as does the Beledros. And then the 3-4, or the 3-2 even, Sedgemoor Witch in at Go-Go. One of the Pests was blocked there and it dies, so it triggers the Dina. Was blocked by Hazezon. And at the beginning of our upkeep, it looks as though Gogo is going to do something, that is go for the throw onto the Essence Warden. That's really good, so it'll stop the Dina from being triggered. Hopefully we can actually get north of... We'd need to get to 47 life in order to buff all of our creatures, although we actually need creatures, of course, to be concerned with that. Okay, Angel of Invention. Yeah, really wishing that we still had a Soul Sister in play with that one. Does have lifelink though. I think we'll get down the Righteous Valkyrie. That will leave us with 4 mana to sink into the Mind's Eye. And then hopefully this survives. We can play out a creature next turn, gain some life, and put it into the Well of Lost Dreams if we want to. And it gets back round to Hazezon's turn, so the sand tokens are going to come into play here. And that triggers the Mace of the Valiant a bunch of times, so maybe have to start worrying about commander damage here. And then Mind's Eye triggers again during each player's draw step and whenever they draw any cards, so we'll certainly put mana into that. Scotty just deciding to play out a tap land though. The Smothering Tithe continuing to trigger. He's going to get a few treasure tokens during this whole turn cycle. Angel of Vitality, a nice cheap angel for us to play, so we could just play that one out next turn and gain a nice little bit of life. And then we've still got mana held up for Well of Lost Dreams and the Mind's Eye. Alright. All is Dust will get rid of... Well, it doesn't get rid of our artifacts that we're relying on at least. I really don't like having both of these out at the same time, but obviously needs must. Dina... Yeah, Dina sacrificing a pest there. Anyhow, Generous Gift going onto the Dina. I mean, you can just sacrifice things in response if... Yeah. If the All Is Dust is going to wipe out the creatures anyway, then... Well, we've got one less Generous Gift to worry about anyhow. So we see the back of pretty much Billy Kill's entire board, and the back of the Smothering Tithe as well. Would have been really nice to play with the Righteous Valkyrie. We do have another Plains to play though, so we're only going to be one more Plains away from the Emiria the Sky Ruin becoming relevant. Mindstone triggering again. There is our second Plains, so yeah, Emiria the Sky Ruin is definitely imminent. E-Witness for Billy Kills. And with that, he grabs himself the Cultivate. Surprised at that. Thought he was going to go for the Demonic Tutor there. Hopefully that wasn't a misclick, because they are right next to each other. Maybe he's just trying to ramp back into his Beledros. So casting that Cultivate. So that ends that turn, and turn 7 it's back round to us. And we get ourselves into Authority of the Consuls, which is a cheap means of gaining life. Decent amount of life with an Angel of Vitality in play as well. So let's throw down the Plains. Get Authority of the Consuls into play. And then we'll hold up 4 mana, get down the Angel of Vitality, so for every ping of life we gain it'll be 2 life instead of 1. And that's actually a 4/4 flyer for only 3 mana, because we are just about above 25 life. So we'll carry on trying. Slowly refilling our hand with these artifacts. Mind's Eye draws us. And we get into one of the bigger angels in the deck. There's only a few of these. Angel of the Dire Hour, which is really good against decks such as Beledros Witherbloom. Kodama's Reach for Hazezon. Gruul's Signet continuing to ramp with 3 cards in hand. Drawing another card against Gogo. Oh, and that's a really good one. Hopefully we can keep that in play. Archangel of Thune. Eats removal like crazy in my experience though. And there we get straight into Tibalt Cosmic Imposter. So let's see which ability they're going to go for with Tibalt. Going for the +2, so exile the top card of each player's library. And they do have an emblem. You may play cards exiled with it and spend mana as though it were any colour. Don't think they have the mana and a Chaos Warp going on that. Planeswalker gets them into a Gilded Lotus. They don't have the mana to... Well, they didn't have the mana to copy with the Rings of Brighthearth, but now they do. So it was probably worth letting that resolve before going for the Chaos Warp, because they couldn't afford to copy it, and they couldn't afford to actually cast anything either. So I don't think there was too much to worry about there. So exiling from the top of our libraries, there is a Mana Crypt which they can cast. Realm Cloaked Giant. Treasure Map, they will be able to cast with the Mana Crypt, same with Fractured Power Stone. Phyrexian Tower, Golgari Rot Farm, and from us, Angel of Sanctions, and a Generous Gift. So out comes the Mana Crypt, as you would expect. They took the Phyrexian Tower from kills as well. And then casting a Solemn Simulacrum, that is going to gain us some mana from the Authority of the Consuls. So we'll just put the mana that is still untapped into Mind's Eye. And then if Billy Kills gets a creature into play, we'll be able to go Well of Lost Dreams. There is a Karmic Guide to get back the Righteous Valkyrie if we want to. I might just hold on to that for later on in the game, seeing as how we've got Emeria next turn. And there's Beledros Witherbloom, so we will gain some life. We're going to gain a decent chunk of life actually, because the pests are going to trigger the Authority of the Consuls as well. Alright, so let's try again. Whenever you gain life, you may pay X into it. Okay, so we'll try again. Pay into X this time. And okay, getting into Regna, so refilling our hand quite nicely here and getting into a nice chunk of Angels. I think Regna would be a good one to play actually. Then with 5 cards in hand, putting the mana, or the life even, into their commander, untapping all their lands. Exsanguinate, where X is 7, so gaining a bunch of life, going up to 64, at least the game didn't end with that one. Always feels bad to lose to Exsanguinate, or what is it called, Torment of Hailfire. Eternal Witness coming in at us, that, yeah, the Angel of Vitality has been debuffed now, so we'll just have to take this. I mean, we're going to be doing this every upkeep, so I don't think I need to put mana into it at the moment. Let's just see what we draw into and play this turn. Then we can hold up whatever we hold up. Alright, Swords to Plowshares is very nice. So let's go Marsh Flats and get our 7th Plains into play. So with Regna and Beledros in play, along with Authority of the Consuls, we're actually going to make a decent number of warrior tokens, which is good with the Archangel of Thune. But we do have the ability to swords on Beledros, so maybe it's worth doing that at the end of Gogo's turn. We'll draw a few more cards between now and then. We are giving them more pest tokens, which is risky. And obviously we're gaining more life as well doing that. It would be really good to get a bunch of tokens into play, and then get Archangel of Thune into play as well. So because we gained life this turn, we get the warrior tokens. We'll be gaining life every turn, like I said, until we get rid of that Beledros. So let's put the 2 mana into Well of Lost Dreams straight away. And that gets us into some mana. We actually haven't drawn into lands in quite a while, so I don't mind that. And then we're going to show off the fact that we've got a Swords or a Path in hand by not paying into the Mind's Eye. Might make our opponents play around a Swords to Plowshares here. Further, not too worried about while we've got the Consuls in play, because a hasty creature that comes in tapped isn't really all that relevant. Playing Arboreal Grazer as well, so more life for us. So thanks to both the creatures coming into play, Regna will continue to trigger. Gogo, with 3 cards in hand, deciding to sacrifice his Solemn Simulacrum to the Phyrexian Tower. Okay, and there is the cast off. Had a feeling that he might cast that because obviously he doesn't have any creatures in hand. This is from Scotty's deck. He can play that thanks to Tybalt, of course. So now Beledros, going for the untap all lands, again did consider the fact that he might have Heroic Intervention for the Swords to Plowshares, but obviously we need to get it out of his hand if he has it. And there is the Heroic Intervention, so now we'll go for Swords to Plowshares onto Beledros. If we're going to be set back to 0 again, I think it's only right that we all do, especially with kills having so much life. Now we do have Emeria the Sky Ruin online, like I've said a million times, so we'll probably get the Regna back. And I don't know. Maybe we could go Karmic Guide and get the Daxos, so that then the tokens entering will trigger the Regna as well. And out comes Tybalt again, Cosmic Imposter, so hopefully Billy Kills will be able to do something about that. At least take it down by a few loyalty. They do have the mana for copying the ability with the Rings of Brighthearth as well. Looks like he's added the mana exactly for that. Copying it will exile some more stuff. So now there is a Jungle Shrine, a Sakura Tribe Elder over here, Swamp, and a Dark Steel Ingot, an Arcane Signet, and I'll hammer its archive from kills, and from us he grabbed a Grand Abolisher and Keeper of the Accord. And he's still got access to the Realm Cloaked Giant as well, which will be a 7/7 with Vigilance. Veinwitch Coven for kills, so we can grab his creatures back whenever he gains life for a single black mana. And now all this going into Go-Go, completely ignoring the Tibalt, so just trying to get rid of Go-Go as quickly as he can. So round to our turn, let's grab ourselves back the Regner. That's the best means of us getting a board back, I think. I'd obviously like to get everything back here really, because it's all useful to us, but Regner's going to get us some tokens. And then we draw ourselves into Teferi's Protection. That's a decent one to hold up. Let's drop another Plains. And is it Karmic Guide into something at this point? If we've got any more board wipes incoming, I'd like to encourage them, to be honest, so yeah, maybe it's just Archangel of Thune here then. And then we can hopefully start putting counters on the tokens that the Regner brings in. And that way we can hold up Teferi's Protection and still draw a few cards as well. So yeah, we'll just pass at that. We're missing haste. We've only got Greaves and Boots in the deck for haste. Didn't want to shoehorn a Chroma's Memorial in here, even though it would be a flavour win. It is pretty expensive, and we've already got expensive angels to draw into. White isn't the best at ramping, as we all know. So we'll draw with the Mind's Eye. I'm just going to hold up 3 mana for as long as I can for a Teferi's Protection, a Path to Exile, more interaction. Oh, and I didn't notice actually, a Field of the Dead has come down into play under the Naya player's control at some point. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 different types of lands. Eternal Witness for him now. And that does trigger our Authority of the Consuls, so we are going to start putting plus counters on things and get some tokens at the end of the turn. I think I'm going to hold off on the Well of Lost Dreams. I'll hold up the Path to Exile and the Teferi's Protection. If there's yet another board wipe to protect Tibalt from creatures, then I think I just want to keep my big creatures in play, get rid of a couple of players. It's turn 10 now, it's about time the game was coming closer to being wrapped up. Might have been useful if Fervor could have taken out Go-Go. I'm not sure if Scotty would have taken Go-Go out, but obviously he can't with his hasty creatures thanks to our enchantment. And then Chaos Warp onto their own E-Witness. They must have grabbed back the Chaos Warp from their graveyard. I didn't actually look at what they grabbed there. Targeting their own E-Witness, hoping to get into something good there, and they did not. Don't actually know what they revealed there. It was a Beast Within, so I think that just stays on top of their library. And at the end of the turn we get those warrior tokens, of course, which hopefully we're going to be able to power plus counters onto. So there, our opponent takes the Grand Abolisher from us, which means they don't want us to do anything during their turn, so I'm going to potentially waste a Teferi's Protection here, but I just don't want my board getting wiped again. So we'll just F6 from here. Could have drawn a card at the beginning of the turn with Mind's Eye, but we don't necessarily need an additional card. We've done well with those artifacts this game. Plussing on the Tibalt again, we successfully phased out there, by the way. So there, we saw the Beast Within, that gets exiled. A Forest there as well. Sign in Blood. And a Prismatic Lens from Go-Go. And then it's a Forest and a Sol Ring from Billy Kills. They're exiled from us. Avacyn, Angel of Hope, which would have been really nice to keep hold of. Although we'd have to tap out to put it into play. Angel of Serenity as well, so we've seen all of our big angels there, I think. There's only 3 at the +7 CMC spot. So casting the Avacyn. Might have to go Path to Exile onto our own Avacyn, unfortunately. So all of these going in towards Go-Go. He's likely only going to take 2 points of damage. Not swinging in with the Veinwitch Coven. And now in response, Go-Go being forced to do something. So Beast Within being cast on their own mountain. That does have Indestructible, so they'll keep the mountain, but they'll still get a Beast token. And the Beast Within is owned by the Naya player, making great use of Tibalt's emblem here. So making a bunch of blocks there, just letting a pest through. Kills will gain some life at least, and he'll be able to put mana into the Vanewitch Coven here. So he's got access to the Dina and the Essence Warden. He can get that going again. The E-Witness is now in the graveyard as well, so yeah, he'll be able to take his pick here. Grabbing back the Essence Warden, I'm guessing he'll be after... he doesn't have quite enough mana for Exsanguinate, maybe the Demonic Tutor or the Heroic Intervention again. And then the Essence Warden would make total sense, but instead going for Dina. He could gain a nice chunk of life with the Essence Warden and trigger this on a regular basis, so yeah, it would be good to get the Essence Warden, but instead going after Dina. And then he cast the Dina after grabbing it back with the Vanewitch Coven, sacrificed a Pest, and that will get him back into the Essence Warden. And they're casting the Essence Warden. And then E-Witness, we'll see if it is Demonic Tutor or Heroic Intervention that he goes for. It is Demonic Tutor that he's grabbing with the Eternal Witness. So there's something we can do that's cool with Karmic Guide and Emeria the Sky Ruin. If we cast it this turn and not pay the Echo cost next turn, it'll be in the bin and ready for us to reanimate it with Emeria the Sky Ruin. So we'll get multiple triggers with the Righteous Valkyrie. I might just go for the Righteous Valkyrie this turn. Then we can start getting buffs on all of our stuff. Argument to be made for the Daxos as well, so that we can get multiple triggers with the Archangel of Thune. Yeah, maybe should have gone for that. And Dina and the Essence Warden is going to trickle Go-Go down to 0 life, so we're not going to bother swinging in at him. I think I'm going to start swinging in at Billy Kills while we've got all this damage available to us. Alright, Valkyrie Harbinger is a really good one. Let's throw down the Bonder's Enclave. We can hold up... If we go Valkyrie Harbinger, we can't go for Karmic Guide and hold up Path, but... might be an idea to... Especially with the Karmic Guide and Emeria the Sky Ruin interaction, it might be worth playing into a board wipe. Especially with Go-Go going down, Scotty having 0 cards. And Billy Kills was playing into a board wipe himself, so I don't think he's got one. Let's just go all out here. So we'll get a token at the end of the turn. We are triggering Essence Warden and Dina and Vanewitch Coven, all that. I think a Path to Exile onto the Vanewitch Coven would be worthwhile, or maybe just straight up onto the Essence Warden. Triggering the Well of Lost Dreams and the Archangel of Thune. Not going to pay life into Well of Lost Dreams. Yeah, let's go Karmic Guide and we'll get the Daxos into play here. Probably should have done that before we went for the Valkyrie Harbinger, actually. A little bit of a sequencing error there. And then if we keep this board, hopefully we'll be able to just throw in Lyra Dawnbringer next turn. Put the Righteous Valkyrie on the stack first, so that we gain life after the Karmic Guide is done. And we'll get the Daxos into play. Daxos will trigger again at the end of the turn thanks to the Angel token coming into play. And now it looks as though Go-Go's got something else for us. Once that Essence Warden triggers, he is done for here. If he could remove Dina, I imagine he would have done it by now. Okay, there is a Generous Gift, and that goes on there, so he's trying to help us out on his way out. That will trigger the Essence Warden and the Dina again though, so Scotty's days are numbered by the looks of it. Gonna turn into a 1v1 between myself and Kills. That takes down Go-Go. The Archangel of Thune will trigger. And the Well of Lost Dreams will trigger, but we've decided to tap out, which I'm a bit dubious about, but 65 life over there Billy Kills is at, so I think we need to take him down as quickly as we can. Karmic Guide will resolve here. And that brings Daxos into play, which triggers Essence and Dina again. Righteous Valkyrie will resolve, and that will gain us life. Oh, and of course the Archangel of Thune has lifelink as well, so that will trigger itself as well. Don't actually get to swing in with Archangel of Thune that often. So go through to the attack step. And I'm just going to swing everything in at Billy Kills. And we just need to hope that Scotty doesn't top deck a board wipe here. Eternal Witness blocking the 4/4 warrior. And we do get some lifelink damage, so triggering everything again. We are not at 47 life yet, but once we are, it'll be a +2/+2 buff on all of our creatures, thanks to the Righteous Valkyrie. Although they are big enough at the moment, thanks to the Archangel of Thune. So it's time to see if Scotty's got anything for us. And at the end of the turn, we are going to make 3 creatures, so that will take out Scotty. 2 from the Regner and 1 from the, what is it called? The Valkyrie Harbinger. And then for each of these creatures that enters, Daxos will gain us life as well, so we're triggering all of our life gain stuff, which is mainly the Archangel of Thune at the moment. So Kills needs to hope that he's got a board wipe at this point, pretty much. With the last Dina trigger, that takes out Scotty, so it'll be straight round to Billy Kill's turn. We gain the life from Daxos. So it all comes down to this. All of our angels are pretty huge at this point, and obviously they've got evasion as well. So at this turn we know that Kills has the Demonic Tutor, so it's likely that we see a board wipe here. Okay, a Zendikar Resurgent. He'll still have 4 mana available, so maybe a Damnation. These forests can tap for black thanks to Urborg. Alright, Toxic Deluge, that's good. So maybe doesn't have a Damnation, which suggests if he doesn't have a Damnation there, he might not have one in the deck, because I wouldn't have thought he'd want to put that much life into a Toxic Deluge. Either way, he has wiped the board successfully there. So we gain a bunch of life from Daxos and all of our creatures dying. And we are north of 47 life now, so the Righteous Valkyrie will give a +2/+2 buff to our creatures if we get it out again. So I think what we want to do here is get the Regner into play so that we can continue to potentially gain life. I'm assuming that Authority of the Consuls is still going to be relevant against a more creature-based deck. So we'll go Karmic Guide, and that can bring back the Regner. And that is just a good habit to get into because it triggers ETB effects for angels and stuff like that. Obviously this brings more angels into play. And then if we get into haste at some point, it might be relevant. And then there is an Angel of Destiny, so whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you and that player each gain that much life. At the beginning of your end step, if you have at least 15 or more life than your starting life total, each player Angel of Destiny attacked this turn loses the game. It just so happens that we're at exactly 55 life, so I think that's a no-brainer that we get that one out. And then, do we get Lyra into play here as well? Or do we hold up mana for drawing cards? I think we can get Lyra into play, because it does give all this stuff lifelink, which just means more triggers. Haven't actually played our commander before now. I think I'd rather hold up the Swords to Plowshares for the Mind's Eye here. Just in case, if they get a creature into play that we don't care about, we'll gain life and we'll get to put the mana into the Well of Lost Dreams anyway. Don't think we're too desperate to draw one more card. I'd rather just hold up the Path to Exile as insurance. Bunch of mana being tapped though, because they do have double mana this turn thanks to the Zendikar Resurgence. So drawing a card with Beledros Witherbloom. And there's stuff they could do here. They can untap their lands in response to a Path to Exile, so I'm not sure there's anything we're really going to do about this turn. We just need to hope that he doesn't draw into anything great or even already has something great in hand. So untapping all the lands. He can only do it once each turn at least, and the Path to Exile wouldn't have kept that from happening anyway, so we'll just have to continue to hold on to it. Yeah, what did I say? Torment of Hellfire, so we've seen both Torment and Exsanguinate here. I don't know if we can actually survive this, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards discarded. We'd still be at 21. And that leaves us at 63 life we'd have to take, so I think our opponent has us either way here. Let's just go through it to make doubly sure. Yeah, so we're down to 2 life there. We've got 24 out of 31 triggers, so that is 7 left. And we've only got 5 available to us, so yeah, our opponent's just about got us there. The lack of haste really hurt us towards the end of that one. So there we go, Kills gets it with the double mana and the untap from the Beledros. I'm quite happy with how that Angel deck turned out though. In our meta it's very board wipe and removal heavy, so playing creature based decks like this you're immediately at a disadvantage. Be sure to let me know if you have any suggestions for the deck and if you'd like to see more of it. Big thank you to Scotty, Go Batman and Billy Kills for supporting the channel on Patreon. You can do that as well by following the link in the description below. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.